All right, so hi everyone. Welcome to Hong Kong U. First of all, we're so happy to see you all here. Hopefully today you will learn more about Hong Kong U and then what we do here in this department, and then of course about our program, and maybe also learn a bit more about psychology if you manage to catch the lecture. But yeah, so we'll hop right into it. So first of all, I would like to introduce our program director to speak about the Bachelor of Psychology program. So it's Dr. Singhang CHEUNG. So he is an expert in visual perception. So it's all about how we view and how we understand information from the world around us. So Dr. CHEUNG is an expert in fields such as visual neuroscience and also stuff like, okay, when there's different objects in different areas of our field of vision, then how do we view them differently? So whenever you're ready, Dr. CHEUNG, you can take it away.
All right. Can you hear me okay at the back? Okay. All right. Thank you, Andrew, for the kind introduction. Well, by the way, Andrew knows me well. He did his PhD with me a few years back. So we spent time together working on his PhD thesis. So today, we're going to introduce to you our program. We'll go like this. We have, of course, the Bachelor of Psychology program. And that's the sort of the main major program that we have. But we also have two other major/minor programs offered by our department. That's our cognitive science program and neuroscience program. So we'll also introduce to you, inviting the corresponding program directors for those programs to talk to you about those programs as well. All right, so that's me. In case you wanna get my email address, that's my email address. So that's my name. Singhang CHEUNG. Well, people could just call me Sing, or Andrew nicely just address me as Dr. CHEUNG. So today, we just quickly think about these questions. Very often when people think about psychology, at least when I was a student in psychology, people would say, "Oh, you're going to learn how to read people's mind." That's what people ask me. So we'll just quickly look at what psychology really is, and what psychologists do. So are all psychologists just psychotherapists, or there are other kinds of psychologists? And then, of course, you are probably considering doing a degree in psychology. You may wonder what you may do after finishing your undergraduate degree in psychology. And that's what we'll also look at briefly as well today. So before I move on, I want you to do this exercise or activity. So Andrew introduced me as a vision scientist, and that's why I use this. And this is one of the things that we study as psychologists. So please go to this Menti page. So you can scan the QR code, or you can just type in menti.com. And then you need to enter this number, 84573678. And can you tell me whether you see this dress as black with blue or white with gold? All right. We've seen that. Just want to collect your subjective experience of this dress, right? And we'll take a look at how people see this in this room. All right, we have responses coming in with, I think it's overwhelmingly, most of you saw the dress blue and black rather than as white and gold. So when we think about this phenomenon, we as psychologists, and in particular as cognitive psychologists or efficient scientists, we would like to understand why would people subjectively experience different colors, given we are looking at exactly the same image on the screen. And of course, when people look more closely into this, people also ask why, like in this particular room, we got more people seeing that as blue and black versus white and gold. And that's one of the things that we try to understand and try to study as psychologists. So not just trying to think about mental disorders, trying to not even thinking about reading the mind. We are trying to understand how human behaviors can be explained by certain theories, certain hypotheses that we come up with. Here's another example. That's a picture of me that I took a couple of years ago. It doesn't look anything, or do you notice anything wrong with this picture? Some of you not. Some of you know. Probably it would be clear something's wrong with the picture when I put that back right up. So we didn't notice that what's wrong with that so quickly, so easily when it was upside down, but that manipulation or that modification of the picture came up so clearly when I put the picture back on the original orientation. So that's what another thing that we try to understand how, in this case, how phase perception works. And we have a phase perception expert here in this room, Dr. Zhao. So psychology is interesting. It's something that we try to understand why things happen in a particular way regarding human behaviors and in human mind. And well, here's another example of that. Over the past few years, we wear face masks a lot. Do we have that kind of a phenomenon even with the face mask on? And the answer is yes. So we didn't notice anything, well, particularly wrong with the picture, but it's clear that I modified the picture when I put that face right back up. So psychology is interesting, and at the same time, I'm not sure whether you got a chance to visit our department yet. So we have different labs open, welcoming visitors to take a look at what we do in our department. And a number of my colleagues, they do research on sleep. And sleep is highly relevant to us. And here is just citing some statistics, saying how, in fact, sleep may have an impact on your academic performance. So psychology is relevant. It's relevant to our everyday lives. And like I said, psychology is not just about mental disorders, although it's part of it. Some of us, we do try to understand mental disorders, but we also are interested in different kinds of human behaviors, different domains of human behaviors. And here's just some examples of the research labs that we have in our department. So as psychologists, we study the mind, and we study the human mind and behaviors. So for you who are considering whether you want to go into psychology, perhaps you can think about this. If you want to study psychology, if you study psychology, you will understand human mind and behavior better. And the goal, the objective is to be, we try to make a difference in people's life and society. And why here? Why HKU? Well, as a university, we rank first in Hong Kong. As a department, our psychology department ranked first in Hong Kong. And so those are quite compelling reasons why you should consider coming here to study psychology. And as a program, we have these highlights that I want to emphasize. So we put a strong emphasis on experiential learning, try to get students to get their hands on different projects and try to learn from experiencing the materials and different phenomena. And we also emphasize a lot on research training because, well, we try to understand how human mind and human behaviors work. And we do have a high level of flexibility in the program, allowing our students to take on second major in different disciplines. Well, as some of you may also think about what students or graduates from a psychology program can do. The first one is about Hong Kong Youth Psychology. So taking from the QS World University Ranking study. So according to that, we rank first in Hong Kong in terms of employer reputation. And looking at actual statistics from our graduates, 93% of our graduates, they were employed or they went on for further studies within 6 months of graduation. Well, just a list of what people can consider, what graduates of psychology can consider. You can also find this table in our program booklet, so I'll just skip through this. And this is the actual statistics. So 70% of our graduates, they reported that they worked on something that's either closely related or partially related to what they study in the university. And well, the other 22% being able to apply what they've learned in the program in other disciplines as well. Well, I want to end with this, with like me telling you how good we are as a program. Just want to share this paragraph that I extracted from an email that I received from the director of a Master of Speech Therapy program somewhere. So basically saying that they think highly about our graduates, and that I think they just want to use others' work to speak to how good we are as a program. So just to end, psychology is the study of mind and behaviors. Psychologists work in different fields, not just in clinics. And career in psychology is exciting. There are many different options that our graduates consider going into. So with that, just want to show for those of you who are considering psychology for JUPAS application, that's our code 6705. And we looked at the best 5 from the DSC examination results. And we prefer Band A applicants. All right, so thank you. So next, I will pass the time to Andrew.
Yep, so thank you so much, Dr. CHEUNG, for the talk. Yep. So if you guys have any questions, maybe we'll leave it to the end because there's a bit of time at the end given for Q&A. But now I want to invite our next speaker, Dr. Jiana Xiao, Program Director of Cognitive Science. So to tell you guys a little bit about Dr. Xiao, she's an expert also in visual perception and visual processing strategies. So more specifically, how people develop expertise for some very important processes. So things such as how we recognize faces, how we view other kind of stimuli like Chinese characters, which all of us need to do. So whenever you're ready, Dr. Xiao, then.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. So I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes or so to introduce to you what cognitive science is. Okay, so cognitive science is a little bit special. Okay, so cognitive science is a little bit special because it's a highly interdisciplinary field. So by definition, cognitive science is a scientific study of the mind and mental phenomena. For example, I can give you some examples, such as earlier, Singh already mentioned about recognizing faces. how we recognize faces and then in addition to that, and also how we perceive the world, how we understand the world. So we make sure that when we walk around, we won't hear anything. And also how we read sentences to understand a sentence, and how we read Chinese characters, how we communicate with other people. So these are more sounds like kind of more low-level things, but there's also some higher-level cognitive abilities, such as how we reason about things, how we infer other people's intention, and these information are important because they help us to decide how we want to interact with the person, whether we can trust this person or not. And similarly, nowadays, with the advance of technology, we also have to interact with a lot of AI systems. So nowadays, for a basic example nowadays is probably GPT, right? So when you interact with GPT, then do you think that a GPT actually has human intelligence? And do you think you can trust GPT? And do you think that a lot of jobs are going to be replaced, or including yourself, are going to be replaced by GPT in the future? And it's really, GPT is so good that it can replace humans. Is there something about humans that is more unique that cannot be replaced by AI systems? So there are a lot of very interesting questions about mind and mental phenomena that we try to answer. And then I hope it's obvious to you that in order to answer these very deep and profound questions, a lot of different fields are interested in these questions, and we need to combine everyone's efforts in order to have a broader picture of the nature of human mind. So that's why in cognitive science, this is basically the nature of cognitive science. It's a highly interdisciplinary field. As you can see here, this is the logo of the Cognitive Science Society, and this is the largest international society on cognitive science studies. And you can see that in addition to psychology, we also have anthropology, artificial intelligence, education, linguistics, neuroscience, and philosophy. So different fields, they have different approaches to try to understand the nature of human mind. And we need to work together. We need to learn from each other's expertise in order to have a better understanding of human mind. And at Hong Kong U, in addition to psychology, so at Hong Kong U, the cognitive science program is housed under Department of Psychology, but we collaborate with 3 other departments. So in computer science, we have some courses from artificial intelligence, and also some courses from linguistics, mainly about psycholinguistics. And also we have neuroscience program under psychology, and we also collaborate with philosophy department to offer some courses related to the philosophy of mind. Okay. This is a long introduction. So just quickly go through some information. So here in the cognitive science program, we want to make sure that students, you will learn skills from different research traditions across all these different fields I just mentioned. And then you can bring these skills together to be on a range of issues in our increasingly technological world. So you would expect that you will learn, for example, how to run a psychological experiment, how to apply formal linguistic analysis, how to conduct computational modeling of cognition. And also perhaps, try to understand the architecture of AI systems. And so students who take this major will be exposed to research in all these disciplines, and then will integrate results across these different approaches to have a better understanding of the complexity of the mind and the brain. Okay, and just quickly go through the program aim. So as mentioned that at Hong Kong U, we focus on 4 aspects of cognitive science, that is psychology, linguistics, computer science, and philosophy. So you will take courses from there. And then the purpose is to provide you with training in research techniques that are used to study the mind, thinking, and intelligence from an interdisciplinary perspective. And then to develop skills in critical analysis and reasoning. And also you will have opportunities to try to tackle novel problems and have experience of addressing issues that are ill-defined. And in psychology, you can take cognitive science as a second major of minor. Yeah, I think this is probably you need to know so far. And just to quickly go through the program structure. So it's highly interdisciplinary, And to major in cognitive science, you need 72 credits, a second major, or if you just want to minor, it's 36 credits. And let me see, so we can see maybe this is clearer. So in order to major in cognitive science, we ask, because this is a psychology department, although it's, actually it's very highly interdisciplinary, but it's a psychology department. So we ask you to definitely have to take introduction to psychology. But in addition to introduction to psychology, then you can take one disciplinary introductory course in one of the departments, such as from computer science, you can take computer programming, and from linguistics, you can take introduction to language or psycholinguistics, and from philosophy, you can take mind and knowledge. And in addition to that, we have two core courses. One is Foundations of Cognitive Science, where you will really learn a little bit of the methodologies and basic kind of history and basic knowledges from these different fields. And then once you have some foundations about what cognitive science is about, then you will take more advanced seminars in cognitive science, basically give you some exposure to research in different fields within cognitive science. Okay, and then after that, then actually the program structure is very flexible. You can you just need to take at least 5 elective disciplinary courses from a range of courses offered in these departments. And then we put all these courses into 4 different categories. There's philosophy of mind, artificial intelligence and computational approaches, brain and cognition, and mind and language. And then in the end, you will have a capstone experience to take a research project in cognitive science. So just quickly show you the type of courses that you can expect to take in different streams of cognitive science. If you are interested in, so in general, because cognitive science is so broad, and then my suggestion is perhaps you want to focus, although in the beginning you will learn a little bit of different fields, but eventually you may want to specialize in maybe just 2 or 3 fields. So if you are more interested in psychology and philosophy, then you can consider taking these courses related to the mind, the philosophy of mind, the philosophy of artificial intelligence, these sorts of courses. And then if you are interested more in linguistics, then there's actually a lot of psycholinguistic courses that you can take. Such as language and cognition, language in the brain, and reading development, and so on. Okay. Oh, and then so for computer science, I think that it's getting more and more important, especially for courses related to artificial intelligence. So you can see that the courses offered from there, including artificial intelligence, machine learning, scientific computing, applied deep learning, and so on. And then actually, nowadays we get more and more students from perhaps doing something related to artificial intelligence or applied artificial intelligence to take our courses in cognitive science. Okay, so finally, because I only had 10 minutes, very limited time to talk about this very broad concept of cognitive science. So if you're interested, please don't forget to get the flyer from us, where you will learn more about the objective structures and also some sharings from our previous graduates. Okay, thank you. I hope you like the introduction.
Yep. So thank you so much, Dr. Xiao, for the talk. Cognitive science is a very interesting topic, very interdisciplinary, and applies across a lot of fields. So there's also a lot of applicability there to other areas of study. Okay, so while we're setting up, I'll also just quickly introduce our last speaker, Dr. Dorita CHANG, who's the program director of our neuroscience program. And her expertise is all about visual perception as well, and about depth and motion and how we perceive the space around us. And also how we learn, and then how it would change our brain and has an effect on our brain circuitry. And so her research also makes use of neuroscience methodologies, so things like brain scans or also brain stimulation. So Dr. CHANG, whenever you're ready, you can take it away.
Thanks, Andrew. I'm trying to figure out where to put this so it doesn't fall out, but I'll just leave it here. It's okay. Okay, just so I don't forget, I put the QR code of our program website on the first slide. So in case you didn't manage to get a pamphlet yet, you can QR that and that will bring you to a more detailed version of our pamphlet. But don't read it right now, you should be listening to me. So the neuroscience program is about 6 years old now. We were at that time the first university that offered an undergraduate option in neuroscience. And so over the last 6 years, we have matured quite a bit. Our program size sits now between 50 and 60. And so I'll get into the little details a little bit later, but I'm going to start a little bit more broadly with some true or false for you here. And this page here, we're talking about the neuroscientist. And so the question for you is, true or false, all neuroscientists are physicians by training? No, okay, false. You guys are so shy. So this is going to be difficult. False, okay, you're good. So not everyone needs to be an MBBS or an MD first. We have a lot of research PhD neuroscientists by training. Neuroscientists make big money, true or false? Yell it, please. Oh, your parents taught you well. You know, like maybe 5 to 7 years ago, all my undergrads came in and said, you know, I want to do a PhD because they had this artificial belief somehow that they'll come out with their PhD and make big money. So, okay, well, I guess we don't need to speak any further. Obviously, money will scale with experience, but you should not expect to be buying a Lambo after your undergraduate tuition. All right, next. True or false? I need to study however many numbers I put there this morning. Years to become a neuroscientist. True or false? Well, it depends on your concept of many years, I suppose. So it will take a little bit longer depending on the depth of engagement you want to make with the field. But you can come out with our 4-year undergraduate neuroscience program and still claim to be a mini neuroscientist, right? And so, all right, good. True or false about neuroscience concepts, and then we really need to move on. We only use 10% of our brain. True or false? Oh, I see like random circular shaking heads. Is that true or false? True, false. What is that? False? So how many percent then do we use if you think it's false? Stop being shy. We need to move on. Huh? Anybody? Okay. You use over the course of your day. Do you know the answer, Andrew? Oh, so embarrassing. Sing. How did you teach, Andrew? Over the course of your day, you likely will have used 100% of your brain. Here's the thing to think about. It doesn't make evolutionary sense for you to have brain bits that you don't need, right? Over evolution, you should have distilled down to this optimal structure that functions very efficiently, that you need a bit of for every function. It's true that not for every function you don't engage your entire brain. That's true. But it isn't that we have scattered 10% and then the 90% are useless. That's false. All right, okay. True or false? It's downhill after 40. Did you ask your parents? Oh, nodding. You know what? So for some capacities, it's downhill from 28. But to be honest, what I wanted to say was it's downhill, yes, but you're going to learn there is the capacity for improvement and reorganization. And neuroplasticity is a very hot thing for the last decade or so. All right, so partially true. 3, you should already have the answer to this from Singh's thing. We experience the world as it is. True or false? False. Okay, good. Because a lot of your sensory organs are intaking the world, but it's filtering them, right? Filtering the data. And your brain's task is going to be to reconstruct that world. And how you're going to reconstruct it might be different from your neighbor's reconstruction. Hence, someone saw blue and black, and some odd people saw white and gold. And I had someone in my class claim red and something bizarre. All right, good. We have 5 senses. True or false? Sight, smell, hearing, taste, touch. True or false? You notice I haven't had a single true statement yet. True or false? False. Not only 5. Good. You should definitely register in our program. These are the 5 easiest ones to think about, but there's something nociception, for example, pain perception, right? There is proprioception, your sensation of, the position of your body in space. There's a more than 5. And the last one, true or false, simple animals aren't useful for understanding the human brain. Oh, good. You were raised well. So in fact, of course, simple animals is how the fundamental beginnings of the human brain really kind of started. And this is a sample of one of our modules in one of our foundations classes where we're taking the invertebrate model and trying to illustrate to the students how the invertebrate brain, only because we have gigantic axons with gigantic neurons and quite simplified models of learning and plasticity. Okay, and obviously I probably already used my 10 minutes. I have 5 minutes. Okay, that's good. So I'm just gonna skip through. This was just a quick. Oh, sorry, it's so loud. I'm so sorry for those in Zoom. I'm gonna skip through this, but I'm gonna show you a little bit of this invertebrate thing if I can fast forward it. Thanks. I was going deaf. This is from our COVID year. So I was doing this lecture in the office. This is one of our tutors. His name is Larry. The 7th. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask you whether you want to try a sensitization of perpetuation. And I don't guarantee either is going to work because earlier today, Larry was saying that. So I'm trying to go over concepts of habituation and sensitization with my students. We're talking about learning and plasticity, and the invertebrate model is the best for this. I don't know if I can actually, can I skip or I cannot? Oh, I can. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to fast forward a little bit. We don't have time for this. Just drag it. It's okay. It's okay. So we can't over there. So we can just, can we drag it? Can we? At the bottom? Oh, on that one. So do drag it. All right. Okay. So we have to fast forward this, but so whoa. Okay, that's the wrong direction. Oh my God, from the beginning. I can guarantee this happens in class too. All right, so we're trying to stimulate it. Oh, you just missed it, but we just stimulated it with a water gun and we're looking for a contraction here. All right, okay, so I have to move on, but you can enjoy this on YouTube. I gotta move on. I'm sorry, I know you love Larry, but not right now. Okay, so the fundamental difference between psychology and neuroscience. I think this is one of the most common questions we get. Psychology, the scientific study of the mind and behavior, and neuroscience, okay, the biological or the nervous system basis of behavior. So there's quite the obvious synergy here. We in the neuroscience program would just do a little bit more of the biomechanistic origins of behavior, the underpinnings of behavior, all right? And so one of the obviously earliest applications of neuroscience to the world, you might have heard of BMIs. Here we have an example of someone who has ALS. amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. And this is a degeneration of neurons in the brain and the spinal cord. This doesn't affect how this individual thinks or their cognition in general, but it affects their motoric ability, output. So here, this individual has what we call a BMI. So it's we have some sensors implanted atop her cortex in her brain, subdurally in her skull. And she's going to try to move, for example, her fingers on her left side. And those implanted electrodes, that data gets fed into, sort of a magic computer box, right? And that is able to decode her intentions. And just about 6 weeks of implantation, post-implantation, she's actually able to type using this kind of a BMI type interface. So this is sort of the gist of sort of what we're looking for, right? Obviously, that's where the neuroscience is at the top. That's the brain readouts. And then the decoding stuff, well, once we get a grasp on how the brain is representing these movements, we can then take that and figure out what she wants to do. And then we put it to an actuator, something like this. Or so one of the most obvious applications. So our program mission, it's a multidisciplinary program where we have partners in education, obviously in biology and biomed. And so I don't have time to go through the details, but you'll see the program leaflet, or you can visit our website. But the main thing for you guys that you might be interested in. So the first thing is I want to tell you, it is usually declared, it must be declared as a second major or a minor. What we look for is that you have a score of 3 or above in your DSEs, one of any of these science relevant ones, okay? If you are coming from the non-JUPAS route, we ask you to just write us in on any equivalent science background that you might have. It's flexible, we can talk about it. Otherwise, we can work out what you might do in your first year to better prepare you for admission in your second year, because all our majors here, at least the second majors, will be only eligible for declaration from the second year. So we will vet your applications. Again, I'm going to skip through this. I'm out of time, but you can see all of these requirements here. You're going to be seeing some of the courses from our partnering faculty. So biomed, BBMS, biology also. Those are built in so that you're not a psychology student, right? You have to take some stuff from our partnering places. So feel free to browse our website for that. And here are some sample career options for you. Obviously, you don't have to become a researcher. You can be usually, but there are many kind of quite exciting applications emerging from neuroscience, neuroengineering, obviously, and cultural neuroscience. You might not know that's a thing, but kind of interfacing between variations across the cultural different populations and your psychological processes. So quickly, fact, you're not a genius at any of those. Should you still pursue neuroscience? And the answer is you don't need to be a genius in any of those. You're not a math major here. There will be elements of all these involved during your studies, but you don't need to be remarkable at them. You just can't be scared of them. Will you have trouble finishing these requirements if you can only enter a program from year 2? If you're going to pursue this program, you need to be strategic about how you're going to credit plan, because this is, again, going to be your second major option. And most of our alumni, to tell you the truth, in the past 6 years, they have gone to mostly graduate school, but some of them have gone and done startups. But we have many of our neuroscience alumni, Oxford, Caltech, Stanford, and most recently, a couple went to Munich. So thank you for your attention, and I give this back to Andrew.
All right, so thank you so much, Dr. Chang, for that. Send me the YouTube link later of this SNIL. Yeah, but now we have a bit of time for some student sharing. So we have here students who are double majoring in psychology, and then one is majoring in cognitive science, and then one is in neuroscience. So we have Andian and Alice here to share about their experience, and then Sing, I guess you will ask the questions, right?
All right. well, when we do this every year, we always think that it's better to ask our students to share their experience here, not just us talking about it from the teacher's perspective. So I just want to start with this question, asking them, Andy and Alice, well, why they chose to be a psychology student to begin with? Well, right now they are year 2 students, so they are in our Bachelor of Psychology program, just finished the first year of study, doing their second year of study now. So like what Andrew mentioned, Andian is also doing a second major in cognitive science, and Alice is planning to do a second major in neuroscience. So yeah, so why psychology?
I guess like from the very beginning, this is actually like a really funny story, but like I was at a camp, and actually one of my friends at the time got really upset, and another one of my friends, and then because he was like talking to this girl, right? So then I was like, I told my other friend, I was like, yo, like I'm pretty sure he's like really upset at you because he has a crush on this girl. And then at that moment I was like, oh my God, like I can totally read his mind. Like I really want to do psychology. Yeah, but then I was really fortunate enough in high school where I had like a really great teacher, and she made the experience really fun for me. Yeah, and I really enjoyed studying psychology in high school, so I guess here I am.
Yeah, my story is not that fun. Kind of like a sad story, but I suffered some kind of like mental health issue during like middle school, and it was at that time, and I think that maybe I should like do a psychology program so that I can like heal myself without paying for anything like that. But like so I'm really interested in going into a field of clinical psychology, and I think that the Bachelor of Psychology program in Hong Kong, you can really help me like pursue that career. So that's why I'm here. Yeah.
All right, because we also introduced to you the 2 other programs that we have, and we do have the 2 sort of representatives. So it might be good also to hear them share why did you decide to do a second major in cognitive science or in neuroscience?
I think actually in the beginning I was also planning to do neuroscience, but I listened to Dr. Xiao's talk, and actually I have a little sister. She has Down syndrome, so I was always wondering to myself like what kind of things are going on inside her brain. Like she's very difficult to read, so yeah, I've actually listened to Dr. Xiao's talk like I think like 3 times already about introducing cognitive science, and she's always been very passionate about it. So I thought that was what really motivated me to give it a challenge. And yeah.
Yeah, for me, because I'm interested in like clinical psychology, so I think that knowing the underlying neurobiological basis of different like disorders can really help me pursue the future career. So for example, like the one that I had studied for my midterm is the research criteria, the research doctrine of criteria. What I'm talking about actually is about like the problem with diagnosing mental disorders. Like the current diagnosis heavily based on the behavioral symptoms, and therefore like many problems like misdiagnosis, like comorbidity, they are really like problematic for people being with this diagnosis. But they for example with major depressive disorder, like a lot of patients do not respond well to the first antidepressant they are given with, and they need to trial several types of antidepressant, or even some of them go on to develop like treatment resistant depression. Like they can't be they don't respond to like pharmacological treatment. So with neuroscience study, we can like have other types of method of diagnosing, or at least researching like different mechanism, or like how different patient respond better to different kind of treatment. So I think that is really meaningful. That's why I want to do a major in this.
Yeah, just to add on to that, so very often we think that we've learned a lot about different kinds of mental disorders, how things work in terms of psychopathology, but in fact we're still as a field, we're still at an early stage of trying to fully understand what's going on with these different kinds of mental disorders. So Alice mentioned depression. we would like, well, in the past, traditionally, we would like to think about depression as something that's sort of isolated, separate, it's a standalone kind of a syndrome. But more and more these days, we would think about that as, in fact, perhaps it's just one particular kind of manifestation of a broader set of problems with some more deeper cognitive processes. So there are different things that we are still trying to understand, and we try to understand through neuroscience and also through cognitive science as well. So my next question is, so why did you choose Hong Kong U, the Bachelor of Psychology program? Because there are other programs, well, obviously in Hong Kong and also in other parts of the world as well. So why did you choose to come here to study psychology with us?
I think, like, needless to say, Hong Kong U has like the best psychology program, at least here in Hong Kong for sure. But also there's such a big like flexibility and freedom with what courses you choose and what you take. Like, I do cognitive science, right? So there's actually like so many disciplines involved. So I've done things like anthropology, I've done philosophy, I've done linguistics. So I think that whether you're like someone who knows for sure what they want to do, or if you're someone that's going into university and looking to explore what kind of passions you have, I think this is like the perfect spot for that. And also there's so many opportunities to go beyond like just the classroom with like experiential learning, or, you know, with internship opportunities and research opportunities. I just think Hong Kong U is the best for that. And also I think something very underrated is how passionate and supportive the staff here is. I think that a lot of the time it doesn't go very recognized, but having people that are so like, because I'm in Dr. Xiao's class, and actually I've had the opportunity to interview Dr. CHEUNG, and something I've realized is that they're all super, super passionate about their work. And I feel like that's something that can really help students, you know, motivate them to learn. I think it's something that's very rare. Yeah.
Yeah, so I really agree. I'm in like Dr. Dorita's class, and like you have just experienced like how fun her lecture is. So that is like a really like big plus. So besides the like flexibility in like courses selection and like supportiveness of the staffs, I think a major reason for taking Hong Kong U is because of their emphasis on like experiential learning. So for social science, the social, innovative, and global citizenship program requires you to like do like a field placement. So for Bachelor of Psychology students specifically, you have a field placement program for so for me, I would prefer to do a placement in like clinics, and for others you can like develop your own choices. Besides that, there are a lot of like internship opportunities. So by year 2, I've already done like 2 internships. They are all like labs within the faculty. So I think that is a really like it really helps build insight into the field and to like build up on experience. So I think that's really great about Hong Kong.
Yeah, what Alice just shared is to what I mentioned in terms of experiential learning, both in terms of going into the society to do actual placement or / internship work, or get involved in research by being a research interns in one of our research labs. So once again, if you haven't got a chance, please go to the 6th floor to visit our department, and we have different research labs open for you to take a look. So my last question is that, well, second last probably, is that, so you've been here for a year now. So are there things that you found that's so different from what you expected? And hopefully it's in a good sense.
Yeah, so I actually did IB psychology. I think for any IB students out there, you're probably used to just like memorizing a bunch of studies and writing essays and whatever. Like, it seems like it's not that fun. And like you might just forget it after you go into university. But I think after coming to Hong Kong U, I realized there's so many different ways of learning, and the lecturers all try their best to make it very fun for you. Like, I had this one class where basically they would ask us to design like a psychology study and then deliver a presentation about that. And I thought that was like so much more different from the learning style back in IB. Yeah, it's been very engaging and fun.
Yeah, for me, because I didn't do any psychology related study back in high school, because like the DSE curriculum requires you to do like the traditional science and that stuff. I think what is different is I did not I expected to like really psychology intensive since like year one. But actually we have like I think it is a Hong Kong U thing, but you need to do like a common course, so it exposes you to a lot of other disciplinary courses. For example, I did a lot of philosophy, and that is like really insightful. Also like within the social psychology faculty, you can also do like sociology, anthropology, and like geography if you're interested. So I think that is like the major difference from what I expected. Yeah, so it exposed like a lot of like interdisciplinary learning for me.
Yeah, well, just to speak a little bit to that. So I didn't go through the exact program structure. You can read from our program booklet. But as a university, for our undergraduate students, we do require them to take 6 common core courses. And common core meaning that is like some general education, trying to talk about different things like how visual arts work, and sort of the interplay between arts and science, things like that, or mental illness in the society, trying to introduce some broad issues to students. So we do have those requirements for students to take common core courses. And Alice also mentioned that we sit in the Faculty of Social Sciences, so our students will get an opportunity to take courses from other departments in the faculty as well, sociology, social work, politics, and so on. So we believe that at least during their early years, students, when we challenge students to take courses from other disciplines, I think that can broaden the perspective. So my very last question, do you have any sort of words of advice for those who are considering applying to psychology, in particular here at HKU?
I mean, I haven't really thought about any words of advice, but I think I think I've had a lot of fun at HKU so far. This has been like a completely different learning experience, and I feel very fortunate to be here. I think that if you have the opportunity to apply, you should really go for it. There's really no harm in doing it. And if you really love psychology and this is what you want to do, then yeah, just go for it.
Yeah, so it's not like an advice, but speaking from my personal experience, like if you're interested in psychology, you just go for it. Because like actually before entering this program, the Bachelor of Psychology program, I did another bachelor also in Hong Kong in the medicine faculty. And like after, because like it is like my parents told me to do that, and I have scores enough to enter it, and I did it. But like after like half year, and like I realized that, if it's not for you, if you're not interested, then actually what's the point in that? So after that I quit university, and then I just re-entered the Bachelor of Psychology. Like very, very fortunately, they like launched the first year of this bachelor, so it's just in time for me to enter it. So again, if you are interested, and if you're ready for it, so you can apply for it. Yeah. Don't hesitate like me, or otherwise you set yourself back several years like that. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So again, thank you for sharing. And so now I think we have 5 minutes. If you have any questions you would like to ask, to raise about psychology program, cognitive science program, or neuroscience program, so you can raise your questions. Yes.
So for the students, especially you who did IB, I guess, what about writing your personal statement? Did you do in psychology, and how is that? How did your thoughts presented in your personal statement kind of change after you did the course, or do you still carry those same passions and ideas that you proposed in your personal statement? And do you think how important do you think the personal statement really is, and how much time should we really focus on honing it and making it the best possible piece of writing that we can present to unis?
So more, you're asking about like what you want to focus on in your IB personal statement, right? I would say focus on why psychology matters to you. I think, to be honest, I think like most universities will look at your grade before your personal statement. But I think if you're going to write about anything, you should write about why psychology matters to you. So what I did in my one, I think if I remember correctly, I wrote about my little sister. And then yes, I still hold like the same importance for psychology, if that's what you're asking. Yeah.
Any other questions? Well, if not, again, I'm not sure whether you got a chance to get, we do have these. So in this, it's like a package, we do have, we have a booklet for our Bachelor of Psychology program. So many of the things that I talked about, you can find many of those information here as well, in more details. And we also have leaflets for the two other programs that you heard about, the cognitive science program and the neuroscience program as well. So I guess if you don't have any other questions, perhaps we can end here.
Thank you everyone for coming. One question, of course, approach the front of the classroom as well. We spent a few minutes time. So thank you everyone.
Thank you, and thank you, Andy, and thank you, Alice. Thank you. Yeah, I'll ask them to just move the chairs so that you can see and share with you their experience and the thoughts of our program. So I'll hand the mic to you first. So we have Hin and Andian. So they are both second year students. So they spent a whole year last year with us in our Bachelor of Psychology program. This is their second year. And so Hin is also doing a second major in neuroscience, what you just heard about from Dorita. And Andian is doing a second major in cognitive science, the program that you heard about from Janet. So my first question for them to share with you is that why did they choose psychology? Well, when they consider university. So Hin.
So I chose psychology. Actually, I did so when I was in Form 5. Before that, I actually wanted to choose medicine. But later I found out that actually psychology is actually a very scientific subject as well. And I actually want to focus more on the mind than other parts of the body. So that's a reason why I looked into psychology in the first place. And the second reason is that aside from like the neurological and biological basis of psychology, there are also very interesting things in other aspects of psychology, which are very useful in daily situations and social situations, and also in your learning. Like in DSC, there are actually a lot of things that psychology or understanding of psychology could help you to increase your learning efficiency. And I found all of these little tricks and all this kind of knowledge very informative and very interesting.
Yes, I was actually very similar. I think before I was looking to do psychology, I was also very interested in medicine. I think the origin story was when I was like 14 or something. At a camp, one of my friends got really upset, and another one of my friends, because he was talking to this girl, And then I kind of hypothesized like, yeah, like maybe he has a crush on her. And then at that point I was like, oh my God, I can totally read minds. But you know, as we can see, that's not actually what psychology is about. But after that, I went to take it in IB, and I actually really enjoyed looking at socio-cultural psychology the most. I think I just loved looking at how like any social and cultural factors can happen to influence our behavior. I always struggle to like find something that was like really interesting. So it just really clicked for me. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So yeah, different experience that we have, different things that you're going through, in fact, may point you to the study of psychology. All right, so my second question is, so why then you also want to do a second major in, well, neuroscience for him and cognitive science for Andian?
Well, as I already explained, a very large part, a large reason why I chose psychology was because I'm very interested in the neurological basis of the mind, the brain, and like why we do what we do. So it's very natural for me to choose neuroscience because it's actually the study of the neurological basis of what we do, a brain. So yeah, so in the future, neuroscience, I believe, is also going to play a big part in a lot of technologies that are upcoming, and I would also like to be a part of that. I think it's very interesting.
I just honestly, I just really like to challenge myself. So I think for any students out there, like being able to double major in something is really, you know, it's really helpful. I was originally gonna choose neuroscience as well, but to be honest, I went on ChatGPT and I looked for which one would end up like getting you a higher paying job. No, but I listened to many of Dr. Xiao's talks and introductions to cognitive science, and actually found that the interdisciplinary nature of it was really interesting to me. I really loved studying courses in like philosophy and linguistics. I even did anthropology, which was really it was really fun. So yeah.
Wow, interesting. Well, but on ChatGPT lies from time to time. Be careful. All right. So wow, they've shared with you why they chose the majors that they got into. So now my next question is why here at HKU? So what attracted you to our university?
So a bit of my background is that I actually graduated from St. Paul's College, so it's very close to here. So first, the geographical location enticed me to choose here. Yeah, because it's a familiar place. I used to have lunch here, and the second reason is because of the quality of education here. As you've seen, it's the best in Hong Kong. And the third reason is because of the Common Core program and all the other stuff about the undergraduate programs that we have to go through. So in other universities, I believe they're a bit more tedious things that you have to go through, but in here we just have like 6 common cores and it's not that hard, and I find that quite fulfilling because the common cores also touch on different aspects of like the arts and sciences, and also like cultural and history.
Yeah, I think I agree with like I think HKU is probably the best part if you're looking for for your studies. There is so much like flexibility and freedom with the subjects you take. There's a lot of research opportunities. We even have like a state key lab here. And also I think something that is very underrated is the passion and the support from all the staff here. I think it's very underrated. You can't find it at every university. You know, there's lots of professors and who are very concerned with their papers and stuff. So yeah, it's all like the different styles of learning. It's very engaging, and yeah.
Yeah, just a quick comment. Well, we do welcome students from all parts of Hong Kong and other parts of the world as well. But yeah, for some students, geographic location in terms of how close to where you live may matter. But we do have MTR station right here now. So my next question is: so now you've spent a year here at HKU. So are there anything that you notice that seems to be from your experience seems to be quite different from what you expected before you came into the program. So hopefully it's sort of a surprise in a good way. So Hin.
Actually, because before I chose this program, I actually did a lot of research on psychology. Like I read a lot of books about this discipline. So in terms of the contents, I wasn't too surprised, but maybe the extent that you have to delve into like statistics and like other stuff, that might be a bit surprising for maybe some of you and some of my classmates. So that's probably the most interesting part.
Yeah, I think for anyone taking IB, you might be really used to just like memorizing studies and writing essays. But I think what's surprising is there's actually like so many more styles of learning here at HKU. And also about the statistics part, I think that can also be pretty surprising. Is that a lot of psychology students don't really like doing math that much. But I don't think anyone should be particularly afraid about that. Like it's not too difficult. It's something that you have to understand if you plan to pursue a career in psychology. So yeah.
Yeah, there's just something that I noticed as well. I used to teach statistics in the department, but not anymore. It's always my advice or answer to students is that in fact, you don't need to be afraid of statistics. Well, if you can get into the university here, probably your math background is well beyond what you can handle in our statistics courses. Sometimes it's just sort of I don't know, it's kind of the mentality that they're being afraid of learning statistics. But in terms of ability, we're sure that you should be able to handle anything that we teach in our statistics courses. All right, I think it's going to be my last questions. Do you have any kind of general words of advice for those who are considering either our university or psychology or the two other majors that we talked about?
I think that because Hong Kong is quite good in the sense that you can actually choose a lot of majors except from like neuroscience and cognitive science. There are different majors that you could choose. So you don't really have to frame yourself or like inhibit yourself from trying out different things. And if you come from different backgrounds, I think you could also give this a try because it's a very encompassing subject. It encompasses disciplines from different backgrounds. So yeah, I think there are no limits to what kind of skill set that you have. You can try out psychology if you want to.
Yeah, I think if you're looking to apply to psychology at HKU, you should really consider why psychology matters to you. I think that if this is something you're passionate about, you're going to have a really great time here. But just like anything else you study, if you are not so interested, it's going to be quite painful. So I would say just put yourself out there and challenge yourself, take on a double major if you think you can do it. Yeah, and good luck.
Yeah, so if you apply to our Bachelor of Psychology program, obviously your first major will be psychology, but there are many different options if you want to consider a second major, of course, including the two that we also offer throughout the department. So I guess that's all the questions I have for you. Thank you, Hin, and thank you, Andian. So now, any questions from the floor? We do have a few minutes if you have questions.
Yes, hello. I have a question for you. My name is Tommy. My question is, if I study psychology as a second major, am I still eligible to apply those master program like Master of Clinical Psychology or Master of Educational Psychology? Thank you.
Well, I guess it depends on the specific programs that you're considering. Because different programs, they do have slightly different application requirements, prerequisites. But in general, yes, I think so. But you have to make sure that you have all the checkbox checked when you apply. Well, if you're considering doing a second major in psychology and considering applying to those Master of Social Sciences. Very often it's Master of Social Sciences program in either CP or EP. Yes. Yes. So the question is, what are we looking for if you are doing an IB in terms of score? I can tell you the statistics from last year. The lowest IB score that we admitted was 36. So that's from last year. So things may change from year to year. Any other questions? So I couldn't hear it very clearly, but my guess is, so if you're doing IB psychology, or you've done IB psychology, would you get any head start in terms of getting started in a program? So, and then perhaps can say something to that.
You can actually apply for advanced standing if your IB score is high enough. I believe it's around 37, but that will basically allow you to take less common core courses, as well as like any language courses. And also I think they give you 2 free electives that of credits.
But that's a case by case consideration. Well, of course, looking at how well you perform at the IB exam, because while it's IB is not a universal level education, so we do have to consider many things at the same time.
I want to know what kind of extracurriculum activity that is related to psychology do you value most, such as doing a psychology research or taking a psychology competition?
I guess so. Well, for you who are doing in high school, in secondary school, I think it's important to explore different things and what's happening out there in the world. So I wouldn't say there's any particular extracurricular activities that may help you more, but in general, if it is the kind of activities that can help you understand human behaviors more, help you have good observations of what really is going on out there in the society, I think in general those will help. You don't need to really think about, well, you have to do something related to, I don't know, clinical psychology related to mental health. You shouldn't think like that. But in general, those are things that help you to be in touch with the society. Yes. Any other questions? Well, if not, I think then we oh, there's one question. So I guess you were referring to if you want to consider doing a master's degree later, especially master's degree in clinical psychology, what kind of a second major you should consider after getting a first major in psychology? Or well, the basic requirements in many of these clinical psychology programs would be you need to be major in psychology. So that's the basic requirement. Of course, again, different clinical psychology programs, they may emphasize on different things when they look at applicants. But yes, in terms of undergraduate education, at least you should have a psychology degree. And in fact, if you're doing it if you're considering going for clinical psychology in Hong Kong, then you should make sure that you have taken certain courses during your undergraduate programs as well. So what we just mentioned is, again, we have the Bachelor of Psychology program. So when you get admitted to us, you will be having a first major in psychology. But in like many other degree programs that we have in the university, you can also do a second major in there are many different options for doing a second major. And we just introduced to you two of the options that's offered through our department, a second major in neuroscience or a second major in cognitive science. All right, I think time's up, and thank you for coming, thank you for joining us, and thank you, Hin, and thank you, Andian. And anything to say, Andrew?
Yep. So again, thank you to our speakers. Guys, if you still want to learn more, if you haven't visited our department on the 6th floor already, please do so. You can go and look at the labs. And then also there's a consultation room where like you can ask any question you want. If you also have questions still for our speakers or our students, then you can also feel free to approach us in front, and then we'll hang around for a little bit. So thank you all for coming, and it's really nice to see you guys.
Yeah, make sure you will get these the program booklet and flyers for the Bachelor of Psychology program, and also for the neuroscience and cognitive science programs. All right. You can get these from 6th floor.